snagging a high value man while you're in your peak and your prime, it just makes sense. And yet black women double and triple down on the idea of actually getting with a high value man when they're in their prime, because they want to prioritize their education. This is why so many women over 30 and 35 are actually becoming single mothers. Hey, this is the antisocial socialite back at it again. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you are new to the channel, you have not yet subscribed, what are you waiting for, darling? Hit that subscribe button, smash that notification bell, so when I get to running this mouth, baby, you are in the loop. Shout out to all of the wonderful new subscribers. I really appreciate all of you who have stopped by, dropped by, all of you who came over from Obsidian. He is in here somewhere. And first thing I want to do, because I realize it's long overdue, I'll need to give a big shout out to Dee. She was the first person and the only one who jumped on Instagram and actually signed up for the free book deal. So I need to get the details for her. But she says she's interested in finance, she's interested in investing, and she's looking forward to getting her books. So if you guys have not jumped over to Instagram, Miss Antisocial Socialite, please jump over and see if you can also sneak in there. It is also Pick Me Monday, where we love to showcase some of the finest acts of pick-meism, women catering to their men and loving it. For all of you single cat ladies who are strong and independent and love to talk about your degree, these are for you. Check out Obsidian Media Network. Also Kim from Wifey for Lifey. She's a married woman giving great counsel to young women. She does do consultations. She's got a popping Instagram page, so also check these guys out for me. Please try to watch the entire video, give it a big thumbs up. Even if you didn't like it, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't watch it, give it a thumbs up. I think we see a trend forming here, right? This is gonna be a really quick one. Yesterday, I went to a family gathering, and I've got some quote unquote nieces. You know how black people do. These people are not biologically connected to us, but there's kind of like some type of, auntie, uncle, niece, nephew, brother, cousin type relationship. Okay, so these are quote unquote nieces, and I always talk to them since I met them about the idea of getting married early. Since I started coming into this understanding, I just saw them and grabbed them and I was like, oh, let me take you under my wings, little petals, So at this family gathering yesterday, after all the activities were done, we all decided to just go for a little bit of a walk. So there was about me and 5 other girls, ranging from 14 to 18. So as we're walking and talking, I said, I know I'm the crazy auntie that's always trying to push these young things into marriage. And they're like, oh God, not this conversation again. And I'm like, yes, again. I only see you like every 6 months. I need to drill this into your heads. So we're gonna have this conversation. And the conversation was, what is the cost of being a single mother? That was the general topic, okay? And so I started off by asking them, what's you guys' plans for the future? Like, what do you want to be? Because if you don't know where you want to go, you don't really know how to plan. And some were like, I want to go into this. Others were like, people are telling me to go into this. I don't really want to do it, but there's opportunities, blah, blah, blah. So then I asked the question, when do you guys want to get married? And the conversation went on to having children, and it was like, oh, you don't have to be married to have kids. And I was like, oh, duh. But I know what they meant. We all know what they meant. It's like, you don't need to have a husband. You can just have a boyfriend. You can just be in a long-term relationship. You can just cohabit. We know that's what they meant. So I said, I've got you now. So one of the next questions that I can kind of remember asking was, how much does it cost to raise a child? And they were like, we don't really know. So I said, okay, what does a child need? Let's do a brainstorm. So everybody started throwing out ideas. They need food, they need clothes, they need a loving home. And then one said they need an education. So I said, good, let's stick with this. What kind of education does a child need? And they were like, you can see from the blank expression on their faces, the only thing they thought of was go to school every day and maybe go to college or uni, right? So I said, so what about moving to an area where they get into the best school? And they were like, oh, I mean, is that really necessary? They didn't say it, but you can see the look on the face, like, you know, maybe they've never even heard of the concept of a catchment area. And so I said, what about a tutor? And they're like, why do they need a tutor? Like, they go to school. And I was like, do you want these children to just pass? Or do you want them to be on top? Do you want them to be average? Or do you want them to be above average? And they were all like, above average. I was like, good. So it doesn't matter what age that child is or what level they're achieving. Even if they're already in the top of their class, they still could benefit from extra tuition. Then the conversation went to, what about extracurricular activities? And the girls, some of them, who the bigger ones who were like 17, 18, they were like, yeah, I mean, I would like, you know, to do that for my kids. I kind of wish my mom had made me do dance class or something. I said, what kind of extracurricular activities are out there? And we started to talk about dancing, ballet, cooking classes. I said, good. Now we're going to have to go back to the conversation about marriage. And the bit that really made me laugh was when I said, because you have to break this kind of heavy topic up. So we start talking about other things, and then the conversation flowed back in. So the last thing I said was, I don't want you guys basically to be single mothers because it leads to poverty. And there was one who was really interested, so I just really engaged her the most. And I said to her, she said to me, how does being a single mother lead to a cycle of poverty? So I said to her this, I said, tell me your day as a single mother. So she was like, I get up, I get ready for work, I get the child ready for school, I go to work. So we all turned around like, whoa, did you go to work and leave the child at home? She was like, oh yeah, no, I took the child to school. So we had a bit of a laugh there. And then afterwards she was like, then I go and pick the child from school and then I come home with the child. I say, good. Can you work extra hours? Can you do overtime? She's like, no. I'm like, why? Because who's going to look after the kid? I said, good. Can you move? Like, can you just change your location easily? No. Can you travel abroad if there's an opportunity abroad when you have a child and no husband? No. And then you see the light bulb come on in her head like, oh. I said, okay, good. So you want to work extra hours because you want to make more money. How much does childcare cost? And one of the other girls was like, it's like £200 a week. I don't even know how much it is. I know it's easily like £1,000 a month here or something. That's what I hear anyway in the papers or something. So she's like, so I said, if you're spending just say £200 a week on childcare, she's like, there's no point to work. And then they realized, you see, we've got to, poor Kevin, his ears must be ringing because he's definitely a hot topic right now. One thing I really respect about what Kevin does is he forces women to critically think about the numbers. How much does it cost to live where you want to live, put your child into the school you want to put them into? How much does it cost to enrich their lives with extracurricular activities? How much does it cost to simply feed, clothe and educate them? It's like, I made a whole list of things that you can do to enrich and invest in your child's life. From ballet to dance class to gymnastics to cheerleading to cooking to pottery, arts and crafts, going on excursions, like school trips, going to the cinema, going to the theatre. Maybe if you want to get your children into high society, maybe you want them to be playing things like golf What about things like fencing or horse riding? It all costs money to make a child into a high value individual who can operate in high society. It's not just about being made in Manhattan and putting on a nice outfit. This is not Pretty Woman. When you open your mouth in those circles, they will know that you do not come from the same cloth they do. And that's not me trying to be stuck up or funny, but you want to be able to flow in those environments. And if your parents do not raise you and groom you to be that kind of person, they are actually disadvantaging or hindering your ability to actually have access to high value partners. So then I said, okay, seeing as you cannot do the overtime, it doesn't make sense to get childcare, because as you get the money, you have to pay the babysitter. Why don't you just work part-time? And the realization of what it costs to actually have a child. And here in the UK, you get a lot of benefits and things like this. You don't have to pay to actually have your baby because taxes pay for our National Health Service. So whereas here in the UK it's free, in places like the States where you actually have to pay for the privilege to give birth, it just baffles me, number one, why women are so nonchalant about having children, but also why they wait so late when the opportunities for them to get a high value men when they're peaking in their prime are diminished. You see, yes, you wouldn't necessarily be able to pay for your own baby in the States because you're not working like that. But if you have a rich husband in your youth, he's going to pay for that. He's going to pay for all your antenatal classes. He's going to pay for the nursery. He's going to pay for the nanny. He's going to pay for everything. So snagging a high value man while you're in your peak and your prime, it just makes sense. And yet black women double and triple down on the idea of actually getting with a high value man when they're in their prime because they want to prioritize their education. This is why so many women over 30 and 35 are actually becoming single mothers now, because they've aged out of the dating market and no one told them, no one cares about your degree. Okay, I was actually going to do a video called "You Stick to Your Degree and Your Career Because That's All You Have." And unfortunately, because so many women subscribe to feminism, they really believe that men care about their education and their degrees and their career. A man who moves in the upper echelons of society, yes, he is interested in your breeding. He is interested in your culture. He's interested in if you're educated socially. Because when you go to university or college, depending on where you are in the world, how you call it, you're not just learning from an academic standpoint. You're making connections. You're supposed to be networking. You're supposed to be developing certain soft skills as well as gaining knowledge. So as a result, when you go to college, the man's not really impressed by your degree and your level of education. He's looking to see how well-rounded you are as a person. But apart from that, the average man is not interested in your degree or career because he's supposed to be the provider. If you are talking about your education and your career, you are now as the woman trying to lead with your ability to play the masculine role. That's why men are not impressed by your career, because they don't need your money. If the man needs your money, then you have to question why he's with you. Is he with you for you or your money? So a lot of women don't understand what it actually costs to be to attract a high value man while they're in their prime. And an unplanned child is an unplanned for child. Because when these people who deliberately have children think about all the questions that I ask these young ladies: where will you live? What school will your kids go to? What kind of extracurricular activities do you want to enroll them into? What does it cost to take this child from novice level up to pro? What about holidays? How are you going to decorate their bedrooms? Do each of them have a bedroom? These are questions that people who plan for children already know the answer to before the child is conceived. But when you have an unplanned pregnancy, you end up putting that child in a position where they're often in jeopardy. You see, I was having a conversation with this woman. She's an older woman, she's a boomer. You know, she's got that attitude about, you know, education is everything. Everybody needs an education, you know. In case you run out of toilet paper, we can all use our degrees to wipe our behinds or something. I don't know, but okay. I shouldn't even say this, but I was going to say the degree hasn't really helped you, okay? When I see you now, at the age you're at, with the way you behave, your degree has not helped you. Okay, but okay. She was like, oh, people back in the day didn't know, you know, they didn't have a lot of money. They didn't know about financial literacy and teaching their children how to invest and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, in my mind, well, that's why the cycle of poverty continues. Because it's your parents' responsibility to instill within you certain understanding about life so that you can actually start off hitting the ground running. But a lot of these parents, they don't have a plan for their kids. They just think the biggest accomplishment is giving them some food, somewhere to live, and maybe getting them into a school. But that's just like the baseline of being a decent parent. An unplanned child is an unplanned for child, and that child then has to scramble to catch up with their peers and is often in a disadvantaged position because no plan has been put in place. So let me know what you think in the comment section. Black people love to say they love kids and how much children are a blessing, but do they actually understand to what degree a child is a responsibility? Do they actually plan for kids, or do they just hope for the best? Do you think that planning for a child makes a difference to the outcome of their life? Let me know what you think in the comment section. Like, share and subscribe. Hit the like button, share this video with someone who needs to see it, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.